looking at the Bible first, I think that the best lens to understand pornography through is the biblical lens of idolatry, using the things of God's creation, often good in themselves, for the wrong purpose. If you remember the root of sin, Paul explained in Romans 1, 21, 22, is that we don't give thanks to God. Instead of giving thanks to God and returning glory to him, we take the good things of his creation and we make idols of them. And so pornography is a distortion of something that is fundamentally good, the pursuit of love, desire, pleasure. God loves those things. But it's pursuing them in the wrong place, in the wrong way, out of God's will. So that's one frame, idolatry. But there's another nuance to that too, because of course our greatest idol as human beings is ourself. If you remember in Genesis chapter 3, in verse 4, the serpent says to Eve, "Did God say?" And then he says, "No, you shall be as gods, knowing good and evil." And that is the eternal seduction of the serpent. You shall be as gods. And that's what our heart desires. You get to make the rules, knowing good and evil. You're in charge. You set the boundaries. And pornography, because it puts you in control, you press the buttons. You have ready access. You are controlling this almost uncontrollable thing of our sexual desire. It puts you in control. And so it appeals to that sense of being godlike in our sexuality. And so the Bible has a number of ways of helping us see how pornography is a distortion, a disordering of something that God gave, our capacity for love and for love making. So psychology also gives us a useful lens for understanding pornography and how addictive it can be, as does biology. We know, for example, that those human appetites that help ensure our survival, our desire for food and water and for sex, are related to systems in the brain that are pleasurable, that reward certain behaviors with pleasure. And that's part of how we survive as human beings, because we're disposed biologically to do certain things that help us flourish, help us remain alive. Now, what pornography does is it plays with those systems, particularly systems that are to do with the hormone dopamine and endorphins. And by giving such an explosive and sudden reward to the way the brain works, those systems are ratcheted up so that you get a kind of addictive response in which we want more and more, and we're seeking more, and appetite is stoked up. And so pornography becomes addictive. A yearning is stoked up as a result of the way it plays with those biological systems in the brain that control pleasure, reward. But there's another way too, of course, because it is rewarding in itself. It does stimulate us sexually, and we're created in a way that's pleasurable. And that rewards certain patterns of behavior, and again, sets them in motion or consolidates and strengthens them in ways that then we find it hard to break free. So for both biological and psychological reasons, we see that pornography plays with the heart, with the human heart, and draws us, ensnares us in patterns from which we then find it hard to break free.